Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Remember this article. Do not forget it. And why? Because we're gonna hold these guys accountable for their statements. And this is the British intelligence services claiming that Russia has no more ammunition to conduct another major bombardment attack. All right, remember that one. But let's see how these weasels are wording it. This article comes from Ukrinform. It comes from today, the 24th of December, 2022. Russia has no sufficient stock of artillery munitions for large-scale offensive in Ukraine. British intelligence. Yay, we won the war. Yes. All right? Remember, has no sufficient stock of artillery munition for large-scale offensive. When the Russians will do it, I would like to get those British intelligence officers fired, okay? And disinformation, misinformation, bad job. Not good at their job. The information was not good. That's all they need to do, provide information. So, the Russian army is unlikely, as Lavrov said about the megaphone diplomacy the Americans, the West, is involved in, including the likely, unlikely, probably, possibly, maybe, might, may, all this. And he's totally right about that. The Russian army is unlikely to have increased its own stockpile of artillery munitions enough to enable large-scale offensive operations in Ukraine. Well, with the intelligence stuff, usually when you make such a statement, it is you have the information or you don't have the information before you say it. For instance, you should know, this is the intelligence, should know how many or how big was the stockpile, how big it is right now, what is the production capability of Russia, how many they used, and therefore you make and some other details that you might be able to know if is decreasing the stockpile, and if yes, what's the level, because you know the beginning, you know now, you have the information, the intelligence. Well, you should know exactly. It's very clear. Hey, Russia had 100, now it had 20. And it produces one a month, and it uses 2 a month. So you can easily calculate that in this amount of months or days, Russia will run out of that according to all this information if everything remains constant. You know what I mean? Which is the production, the use. It's very simple. So they should have or they should not have this information. You have it or you don't. If you have the information, you can tell me without most likely, get the fuck out of that. You can use another word, all right? Or if you don't say anything, or you say, yes, they will run out according to the current data. They will not run out under the current circumstances or the current supply, demand, and production variables, which supposedly there are constants, right? Because you start from a constant, you go a constant being the use of these weapons. Let's say if they use it constantly in a certain, like 3 attacks a month, 2 attacks a month, but you can figure things out. And now you tell me, you give me an information right now, and it's likely. You don't have the information. That's what it is. You do not have the information. This is stated in a British intelligence update published by the UK Ministry of Defence on Twitter Saturday. They published that for Twitter. Good job. The review notes that since October, the Russian occupying forces have strengthened their contingent in Ukraine with tens of thousands of reservists, which allows them to resolve the issue of an acute manpower shortage. However, the lack of ammunition remains a key limiting factor on the offensive efforts. How come? Because Zelensky and his weasels were barking for the past week that the Russians are preparing a massive attack, a massive this. How is that possible? Wouldn't this one negate that one and vice versa? I guess not. I guess we can, have a double speak here, and have the same, two things are true in the same time, even though they're opposing one another. Anyway, what can you do? The British are still looking for the Saddam's weapons of mass destruction right now. British intelligence believes that for the same reason, due to the limited availability of cruise missiles, Russia has likely limited long-range missile strikes on Ukrainian civilian infrastructure to around once a week. So remember, British intelligence believes. Why don't you pick the dictionary if you're not very familiar with the word believe, and you find out when you believe something, not necessarily based on evidence and facts, okay? That's why you don't say, well, I think in the Bible, or I think that, or I assess the Bible. You say, I believe in God. I believe, might be, no, might be. It's that little thing, in between. The same here again. They use, Russia has likely limited long-range missile strikes, likely. Okay, due to this, thank you very much. And I'm quoting, a vulnerability of Russia's current operational design is that even just sustaining defensive operations along lengthy front line requires a significant daily expenditure of shells and rockets, end quote. The summary emphasizes. I agree with that. What's the production, buddy? All right, go and find out, bring the information to me, and then we talk. As reported by Ukrinform, Ukrainian military intelligence intercepted a phone call of a Russian soldier, wow, he must know, in which he says his comrade in arms mutilate themselves in order to be sent back home. That always happened. I know people who did that in the Second World War. Okay, so forget about that. It doesn't surprise me. And one phone call. How many Russians are over there? What's the attack force? Let's put 200,000 people, 300,000 people, and you have one saying that. Oh my God, it must be true. Yeah, I mean, there are people who do that. I know they are. So, and it's not only the Second World War. In any war, in the Vietnam War, in the Korean War, there will always be people who are in a position where they don't want to be, but they want out. Or they thought it was different and they don't know how to get out. And how to get out? You get injured. By how? Find a weapon of a guy that, with an enemy weapon, which is the same as yours actually, because they have AKs, right? Kalashnikovs. And you shoot something that you don't shoot something that, how should I put it, endangers your life that much. And then you, and you get out. And then you get Purple Heart. Thank you very much. Yeah, all right. So that's one thing. Regarding the information, is all likely, most likely, believe, and could and might, and bullshit. You know or you don't know. If you know, say it. If you don't know, say you don't know. But hey, that's too much. Remember, it's war. When war breaks out, you win by all means necessary and appear to be honest and fair and in no violation of any international norms or rules of law or laws of war. However, rules of law, rules of war. Anyway, I think we'll see. We will see one another pretty soon. You know when pretty soon is? When the Russians are going to conduct another massive attack on Ukraine, unfortunately. But I believe that will happen. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just, my friends.